Yes, welcome. I would like to connect my first lesson of digestive system with today's lesson, that is blood vascular system. Now, just to review a little bit what we have seen in digestive system, if you remember, I told you digestive system is all those organs put together which work for the process of digestion constitute what is called as digestive system. And then I told you that digestion is the process of converting insoluble constituents into their soluble form. Insoluble constituents into their soluble form. Now, I'm sure had it been a teaching in person, you would have asked me why the insoluble constituents are converted into their soluble form. The simple answer is so that the food gets absorbed. I'll say for absorption. Now, you will ask me, how is this absorbed? I'll just tell. But where this soluble constituents of food, where do they go after absorption? The answer is they get into the blood. And what does this blood do with those constituents, with those soluble constituents of food in our body? The answer is this blood takes around all those soluble forms of the food to different parts of the body, so that the soluble constituents of food are used up in the body for their ultimate purpose. And you know, the purpose of the food that we eat is to produce energy, for growth, for repair, and for making up different components of our body. Now, this is how I will connect the digestive system with the blood vascular system. The soluble forms of the constituents of food, I mean glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerin, and others, I mean vitamins and minerals, get into the blood and move around in the body to meet their ultimate functions. This is also called a circulatory system. Now, I'm sure you will ask, why should they be circulated in all parts of the body? Each cell needs that energy, and most of the cells are concerned with the process of growth and repair. Now, so the change in the using up these constituents of soluble form of food for energy, for growth, and for repair is called assimilation. That is converting the food, I mean the starch, the proteins, the carbohydrates that you have eaten, to change those things into your parts of the body. Assimilation. Now, some of these substances which are absorbed are stored in the different parts of the body. For example, glucose is stored as glycogen in different parts of the body. Fat is stored in different parts of the body, in different places of the body. Vitamins and minerals are also stored in the liver. So, the food that has been digested is absorbed and then assimilated. Some of it is stored, and the food that has not been digested, has escaped digestion, is stored in the rectum to be eliminated to the outside as undigested food, and this process of throwing out the undigested food to the outside from the rectum is called egestion. Now, I hope I was trying to connect the digestive system with the blood vascular or circulatory system. Now, but there's one thing in this that's coming up, that how food is absorbed and how does it go into the blood. Here is the answer. This is the transfer section of the intestines, the alimentary canal, particularly the small intestines. I have told you that absorption takes place almost everywhere, starting from the mouth, in the stomach, in the duodenum, but main absorption of the digested food takes place in the small intestines. And in the small intestines, if you remember, I told you, it is the second half of the small intestines which is more absorptive in function and less digestive in function. The first half of the small intestine is more digestive in function and less absorptive in function. Now, you have to note this point, that the alimentary canal in the region of the small intestines is a long tube which has been put into this abdomen in a zigzag form. The first thing is the length of the tube. It provides a lot of surface area and a lot of time for the food to move through. And then it doesn't run through. The tube is zigzag, so it takes time for the food to move through the intestines. Not only that, the inner walls of the intestine are thrown into, here is the food running. Inner wall of the intestines is thrown into these small finger-like projections. And these similar finger-like projections are called villi. The function of the villi is to increase this absorptive surface area more. If the tube is like this, the food will pass and goes. But if it is thrown into folds like this, it will pass gradually. And notice, there is a lot of surface area increased for the food to be absorbed by the small intestines. And these structures are called villi. Now, each villus is a structure like this. A finger-like projection into the lumen of the small intestines. Now, towards the inner side, there is a layer of cells called the endothelial cells. Now, these cells are of different types. And number one, most of them cells are thrown into cilia, which help the food to move forward. And the food is moving forward, if you remember, by the process of peristalsis. Now, there are some cells which are secretory in function. They secrete mucus, they secrete digestive juices, and in the second half of the small intestines, most of the cells are absorptive in function. The food present here passes through these cells and get into these blood vessels. The glucose, the amino acids, the minerals, the vitamins, they get into the blood. And the fatty acids and the glycerine, they are collected into this green tube called the lacteal. Now, this blood then goes here. What happens to the food there, I will be telling you later. In blood vascular system. But remember, I have brought the digested food into the blood. Now, in the lumen of the small intestines, the food, soluble food, gets into the blood. Now, this is how I was trying to connect today the digestive system with blood vessel system or circulatory system. So, today's lesson is blood vascular system, which is also called circulatory system, because it circulates all those constituents of food in all parts of the body. Now, each cell, needs energy to be alive, and the food, glucose, goes to each single cell of the body. Now, that is what I am trying to emphasize, the circulatory system, that is the blood, right? Now, the blood vascular system, as the name indicates, consists of blood, the heart, the vessels, and there are two types of vessels, the arteries and the veins. So, blood vascular system or the circulatory system, we shall look at it under four headings. Number one, the blood. Two, the heart, which pumps, which acts as a pump. And the tubes, the vessels, arteries and veins, which take the blood to different parts of the body, and veins bring back the blood into the heart. Then that's circulation. So today we will look at the blood. Now,